it was not dissimilar to the videos I am sure you watch when you search anime. So I go into this audition and there's an engineer, and then I can see the man that had called me in and who had never worked with me before, who was like, I heard you're just great, so like let's give this a shot. And I was like, okay. And so the audition starts, and I was basically like, oh no! Why are you touching me like that? This man, he touched me. It making me feel a certain way.
Welcome to My Worst Audition.
Welcome back to My Worst Audition. With me today is the lovely and talented Shelly Shenoy. She shot to fame over a decade ago from her work in the likes of video games like Minecraft, Batman, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, and Red Dead Redemption 2. She is a voice director for Netflix and the BBC and is the #1 voiceover coach in the country, according to Shelly Shenoy, LLC. Her star is also rising in the world of on-camera work, and her comedic sketches with We the Internet and Lou Perez have garnered over 40 million views and counting. All that, plus she's one of my best friends in the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my favorite sexual fantasy, Shelly Shenoy.
Hi! I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for that
Shelly,
great intro.
I know. I can't imagine who wrote that.
Me neither. Good work. It's very well. It was on point.
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
you.
proud
Yes,
of you.
it was definitely, yes, something that I wrote 100%.
Yeah, you wrote it so good and well. So good done. I can't write.
Yeah, whatever.
I forgot. You know what I forgot to mention is one of my biggest directing credits yet. And I said Netflix and the BBC because I'm so used to that. But I'm now directing for the History Channel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for the A&E network.
Man, you're all over the place.
I didn't tell you that. Yeah, I just finished a show. I'm not allowed to say which show it is, but I fixed it and now it's going on the air. That's how they ended up finding me. They were like, "Can you fix this TV show?" And it was because it was like a docudrama and sort of like a mystery show, because these, History Channel shows are so awesome and mysterious and they've got a lot of stuff. And so the two hosts are on camera, they're great, but on the mic, it was a disaster. And they were going to pull funding and pull the show off the air and just not finish editing the remaining 7 episodes. They cut one together for approval and it didn't get approved. And so the producers at A&E went scouring all over New York and they found me and they were like, "Can you fix this?" And they sent it to me and I was like, "Yeah, give me like 3 hours." And we finished.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, but then I started working with the hosts and we worked on it weekly until all the audio episodes were done.
The audio quality is now good. And the conclusion is 2,000 years ago, it was still definitely aliens.
The conclusion is that aliens were in World War II.
Oh, so it's World War II. Okay, sorry. I lose track of when the aliens were here.
The show is, it's something like, it was something like real mysteries of our wars, ... the truth is out there.
Okay.
And so it's like great war mysteries. The truth is out there. Here's the evidence. What do you think happened? And the stories are crazy. Like, I must admit, like, the stories are bonkers. Like, you're like, what happened? Like, this guy disappeared from where and he ended up where, and he was an American and then he ended up having to become Russian in order to live. And
okay.
Like, of prisoners getting kidnapped and then shipped and sold to other countries instead of killed, because U.S. prisoners were so smart and so ahead of U.S. soldiers were so much smarter than soldiers in other countries, and they had so much more advanced technology and warcraft and knowledge and experience with what they were doing. So if anyone else in the world could kidnap a United States someone in the war, someone that was like a sergeant or that knew how to operate, a U.S. serviceman of any kind, they wouldn't kill them. They would kidnap them and trade and sell them.
I've never heard of this in my entire life.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. And
I
so
mean, if it's on the History Channel, it has to be true.
that's end of discussion. So you got to go find this war mysteries, the truth is out there story,
Yeah.
because the one specific story of this kid getting his bomber crashed or whatever, but they shot him down and they kidnapped him, and then they sold him it was like from Japan to Russia.
Are you sure this wasn't an episode of The Outer Limits? Are you sure this is actual real history?
What's the difference, Gare? What? Come on. No, yeah, this was real. And the reason that they have this was because when he was like 80 years old and a fluent Russian speaker with a Russian family, he wrote his fiance in the United States. He found her and wrote her because they weren't harping on him as much like 55 years later. He got away with sending a letter.
So they were keeping him under wraps for like 55 years.
Forever, for the rest of his life. But he started sneaking letters out when he was in his 80s.
This sounds insane.
I'm telling you, you should come over to my house and watch the show with me because I haven't seen it yet.
I will. I mean, it is hard for me to go against
fun.
it. I mean, it does say history in the name of the channel, so I can't argue with that.
And in the name of the show, it says the truth is out there. And that's what the show's about.
Fair. Okay.
So, yeah, I directed that.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, you've been doing really well. You're like doing all your own stuff. You're producing, directing. You're all over the place. You're making it happen. You're not just sitting and waiting.
Yeah. I got an animated series in development. I told you that, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm going to be voicing a character somewhere in this, I assume.
In season 2. We got to get this shit sold first. And then, yes, of course.
Oh, thank you.
Obviously.
How long you been at this now?
Voiceover or acting?
Just performing in general. How long you've been trying to make a career of this?
Well, my first show, I was 4.5 years old. I was in the Lion King. No, I was in the Wizard of Oz. And I was hooked.
Nursery school production of the Wizard of Oz.
The Columbus Children's Theater Academy. And I was the youngest member, and I was the lion in that production.
Oh, wow.
And just so cute. And like, it was just great. And I was hooked forever. And I did my first national TV commercial when I was 7. And again, when I was 8. And by then I knew I wanted to move to New York and live in New York. And I was in the Midwest. And so anyone I told that to just kind of like, was like, you cute little thing. Sure. And I was like, no, I will be in New York. This is where I will live. I knew it.
Now,
and
what made you choose New York instead of LA?
Because my parents, I was so set on it. They took me to visit New York when I was 8.5. And I was like, this is it. This is it. I'm in. And we had also gone to LA in that trip. They like took me to both coasts, and I was so underwhelmed by California. I was like, I mean, it's hot and boring. This was me as a kid, but like in my mind, the city was so big and so exciting, and it was happening. Things were happening there. And that's just where I knew I wanted to be. And yeah.
How long now I've been attempting to make like a go of it for real? Like, just I'm gonna try to make this a thing that I earn money for as my primary income.
Probably 17 or 18 years.
Wow. All right. Good for you.
And I've properly been living off of the money that I've made. Like, I've lived off of my business endeavors in the industry for like, cause I didn't, when I started, all those years ago, but, was when I started making a living off of it, it really started to take off in 08, 09, were the first 2 years I really started making money. I started making money in like 2003. Right. But like, it wasn't until I was able to like fully launch into the world of entertainment in 08 or 09 was when I started actually making money, and I started making a living 10 years ago. And I never looked back. It was like 2012, 2013.
Well, Shelly, I know you, and in your 15, 16, 17 years of doing this, you must have a funny story or two to share. I hope you got something for me.
I don't
All right.
know how to even tell you the story of my worst, but I'm going to do my best, okay?
Okay.
So, it's a long time ago, and this was in the first, like the second or third year after I had started really making a name for myself. And so sound studios would call me in on reputation. They would call, and so like I had a name and people knew who I was, and people were calling me in based on that. And
Okay.
so there is this sound studio that I hadn't yet been to, and they were, they were pretty big wigs. They were doing a lot of animated stuff, and um, and again, this was so long ago. Um, I that part of that makes sense as to how this went down, but
Okay.
um, I was asked to audition for something that I had never ever heard of before. So
Okay.
again, this was a very, very long, this was like 14 or 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And I had never heard of anime. I thought
Okay.
they just were spelling animation short. Like I was like, animation? What is this? I had literally never heard of it. And I don't
Okay.
think a lot of it hadn't really quite taken off the way that it is its own universe now, right? But it really hadn't back then. Also, as you know, being who I was, and of course I'm going to do my research. YouTube had only been online for a few months
Hmm.
at that time. So when you searched anime, Gary, sumo wrestling videos.
Oh, I thought we were going in a different direction because I search a very special kind of anime. But continue.
No, there was no anime on YouTube because
Okay.
YouTube had just come out.
Well, the anime that I would look for would not be on YouTube, but please continue.
I understand, and I'm following. I am picking up what you're dropping, but I am telling you what happened. Right? Was I searched and I was like, well, that's interesting. So all anime references just led to sumo wrestling videos.
Okay.
So that's what I studied. And so I was like, this is so weird. Why are they asking me to audition for this? Why don't they ask a Japanese man?
Please tell me you walked in through and went, I am a Shelly Shenoy. I'm here for voiceover role.
No, of course not. I waited until my actual audition to do that.
Did you really?
Yes. So I go in, first of all, I go in, so I go to the sound studio and I walk in, and the owner of the sound studio is an American Chinese man.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Hey," and I'm thinking like, "Why aren't you reading for this? Like you're at least a little
Chinese,
closer."
Japanese.
No, but like they had said specifically, like with this Asian influence. So it was like, so you're there, like you're close enough. You're gonna pass further than me. But I was like, okay. So I get the script, and Gary, it was not dissimilar to the videos I am sure you watch when you search anime. So I go into this audition, and there's an engineer, and then I can see the man that had called me in, who had never
Okay.
worked with me before, who was like, I heard you're just great. So like, let's give this a shot. And I was like, okay. And so the audition starts, and I was basically like, oh no! Why are you touching me like that? This man, he touched me. It making me feel a certain way. Oh no! Do I need to take my skirt off? Is that what he trying to do?
Oh my god.
And I see the man that owns the studio, because he was behind this wall here, because I was working with the engineer over here, and he was over here, so you couldn't see him. And I saw him go. He's just like, and he
Oh my
disappears
goodness.
again. And I was like, I seriously, like, I don't know why you're asking me to read. I did the whole audition, the entire audition. I never stopped. I went all the
Oh.
way. Oh, you're making me feel so tingly. I feel moist. It feel good but bad at the same time.
I like how your Japanese accent has semi-morphed into Italian. Like,
That's
it
a
feel
little
bad
French.
at the same time.
It's a little French. I was, because I was just like, I was just grasping at anything because I had no idea what I was
It's great.
auditioning for. And they were like, and they had said it was a little intimate. It was for mature audiences only. And I was like,
Intimate.
okay. Oh, that feels so good. I was like that, like he's touching like that, like good touch, bad touch, but
Oh
all
my God.
in a sumo wrestling throwdown, violent approach to the script, and and they were like, okay, they had just white as ghosts, all of them,
Oh,
just
that's
white.
fantastic.
Nobody said anything to me. Just the engineer was like, oh my God, as the engineer was watching me. The other, I won't say his name, but the other one who was like, oh
Yeah, I can easily
God.
picture it.
Just, everybody was like, and I walked out like, so, great. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Right. and, and I believe it was a year later, they called me back for another anime audition. And the information was online, and it was for a feature film, and I walked in, nailed the audition, booked it, and I left.
Congratulations.
And that was
Very
a year
nice.
later, but my first
Now-
experience, how did they end up calling me back? I
don't know. I have a question. The year later one that you booked, was it also for intimate anime, or is it just plain old straight up anime?
did, I ended up booking 2 or 3 anime gigs with them, and the first one that I booked, no, it was an action film. With a
Okay.
little bit of mature stuff, but it was just kind of like an action film.
Mhm.
And then I booked 1 or 2 other projects. They were very intimate,
Intimate.
they were very intimate.
So just so we're all very clear, the second I finish this interview, that is immediately what I'm doing. I'm looking up
Oh.
the ones that you voiced.
Who knows if you're gonna even find, if you find them, will you send them to me?
I definitely will.
Because
After I take my time with them. Yes, I will
Great.
definitely send them
Great,
your
yeah.
way.
Go and search for those projects, because I don't know if they were distributed here. I have no idea. I have no idea where you can find them or stream them or look them up. And it was
Shell. I got places.
You got-
I
okay.
got places to look.
okay, great. Yeah. So I didn't book the
Wow.
first one, but I ended up booking a series of gigs afterwards, and I have no idea how. But they were like I guess I left, and they were like, I mean, they said she was good, but like, I don't know, maybe. And then like a year later, they're like, we'll give her another shot, and they gave me another shot.
But to your credit, it shows, I think, cream rises to the top, no pun intended, that you have made an amazing career in VO despite this obvious, just horrific audition. You're really good at it.
I think he really liked the sumo wrestler voice. I think they really, because I had it on lock. There was no French or Italian sneaking in. When I went in for that audition, I had it on lock, and they were equally horrified as they were kind of pleased with like, it's actually kind of good for whatever the she thinks she's doing.
Oh no, please, not there.
Oh no, don't touch me down there. I feel dirty thing. But whatever you do, don't do it again.
I don't even know what accent that is.
Me neither.
But yes,
keeps going French.
Don't touch me down there. Oh yes, all the sexiest Japanese women talk like Pepe Le Pew.
Yes, yeah. Basically, I think that's sneaking in because I was recently working on like this deep French, like whatever, and it keeps tracking. I call it's
Oh,
vocal dragging, and it keeps popping up when I do sumo now because I was working
that's
on that.
great. That's fantastic. I mean,
Sad,
I
sad.
when you told me that you affected that accent, I immediately thought of something that I did. It comes nowhere close to your story. But it reminded me of a quick thing that I did. There's an agency in New York that has a VO department, and they have a VO booth in their building.
Yeah.
So, if you want to audition for VO, you can go to their office and use their VO booth. And the guy there brought me in for a VO audition, and he then asked me afterwards if I could handle a Japanese accent because he wanted to see, if I could read for this other thing. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Let's go do it. And then we lined it up. I have the script there. He's ready to go. And then I see that he stops and thinks for a moment because he knows me and they sort of know me there that I'll say and do whatever. And he goes, "Wait, before we start, can you just make sure that you do this in an inoffensive way?" I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem. I got that." He goes, "Okay, let's give it a try." And of course, I immediately start reading, and I go, "I would avenge myself upon your family." He's like, "Okay, we're done. Stop. We're done." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I tried." that's the end of that.
Oh man, I feel like I know who that is too, and
I'm sure you do.
And I might be wrong, but if I am correct, he is dry as a cardboard box in the desert. Just like,
No,
okay,
no.
we're done. Like,
No, it might be a different person because he was pretty chill, but he wasn't going to go down that road. He's like, "All right, no, no."
okay,
Thanks.
okay.
Yeah.
I wonder because the one that I know has a terrifying person. A lot of people get, but if your person was like really chill, then it was probably one of the other studios that I was thinking of.
Oh, good.
Either way, though, nope, you're
Yeah.
done. You can just
Goodbye.
we're just gonna.
But no, yeah, that does not compare though to your tale. Ah, that was magnificent.
I
Thank
went
you, Shelly.
all the way, just all the way
it.
there.
Oh, that's
Excruciating.
fantastic. Yeah, and I now wonder if I can find that type of anime or hentai, as it's known to those of us who peruse that sort of thing, I wonder if there is a kink for like sexy anime cartoon, but in like a deep husky sumo wrestling voice. I wonder if that exists. Not my personal thing, but I'm just kind of curious to see if I could find that.
Gary, if there was, I would have been booked on it already. And I would have told you about it. So I assure you, I can save you the Google search because they would have called me directly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Shell, that's wonderful. I don't think that can be topped. I think my little tale was just kind of the after dinner mint for your story. Your story was fantastic.
Great.
Where can people find your work?
Oh, so I mean, my website is just Shelly Shenoy, and I've got a bunch of samples up there. If they're looking, I mean, whatever. My coaching stuff is just all NYCVO coach. I train people all over the world every day. If they want to see actual on camera gigs that I've done, it's all on Shelly Shenoy, and on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, Shelly Shenoy.
Shelly Shenoy. There you go. Shenoy. In case you want to spell Shenoy.
Yes. Shellly.
Yes, 2 L's.
Yeah, I think it's at the bottom of my screen here.
It is.
Right
yeah,
there.
I don't know if that even transfers over, but I'll include it in the notes.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just
that's
work
how you
here.
spell it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you, Shell. That was wonderful. So once again, ShellyShenoy.com if people want to find your work. And on the socials, you can be found at?
Yeah, on all the socials, I'm Shelly Shenoy. For anything voiceover, coaching, or directing, I'm NYCVO coach. Or you just search Shelly Shenoy and you'll find it. Just look for the name. It's pretty easy.
Shell. I appreciate it.
It's
great to see you.
Gary.
Thank you. That was a fantastic anime story. That was gold.
Excellent.
I appreciate it.
Excellent. Glad I could serve.